here with Whytnee Bush, who currently sits on the Dill Pickle Board of Directors. And we're here to learn more about Whitney's personal journey. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So my first question is, what is the Whytnee Bush personal story? Tell us about yourself from the Midwest to the Northeast and then back to the Midwest.
Yes, exactly. So I actually originally grew up in the Southwest suburbs. I'm from Western Springs. My parents are still out there. And went to school in Boston and ended up spending like a lot of my adult life in New England. Most recently was in Vermont. And I really would say, I worked in nonprofit starting in college and after college and worked in the public sector and was always community oriented. But I think that like living in Vermont in just a really progressive place where everyone belonged to the local co-op. It had been around for, at least a generation, if not two at that point. And really like being part of the fabric of that community was really rewarding and just something, it was a new experience for me. I mean, I had lived in Boston, I had lived in New York City, I spent a little time in Mexico City. It was just a totally different vibe, right? Like the progressive attitude and the ways that people were involved with the co-op there, and just like their long-term membership and just understanding what it meant to be part of the Burlington community and part of the food co-op community at City Market there. And so when I came back to Chicago a few years ago to be closer to my family, it was great to just become part of the co-op once I moved to Logan Square. I mean, that was one of the draws to the neighborhood was the fact that we had this local grocery store right there. And it really like being in the store gave me the same like warm, fuzzy feelings that I had when I was living in Vermont and part of that community. And so when there was an opportunity to join the board, it seemed like a no-brainer. I mean, really passionate about food systems. My sister owns a restaurant out in Vermont. She actually was a lunch lady out there for a long time. So she got me really passionate about food systems and just getting to know the folks in Logan Square and in the broader Chicago community that share cooperative values. I mean, I think that it's been great to meet you and other staff and other co-op members that really just have been so welcoming and so wonderful.
Well, you actually touched on my next question, which is how did you become involved with co-ops? So it sounds like in Vermont, you got involved with the co-op community.
Yes, absolutely. Definitely was able to volunteer, was meeting other member owners that way. Really liked all the folks that I met through that. But I would definitely give a lot of credit to my older sister. I think that she definitely inspired me to think about, in working in the public sector, I definitely had a community-oriented mindset, but I think bringing it to food and to providing healthy food for communities that also support local farmers and bringing it really to that like micro level for me was really awesome. And obviously no turning back now.
No, we're in it and we need food to survive. And we're back. So my next question is, if you were a season in Chicago, let's clarify that, which season would you be and why?
I would say I would be the fall because I can be complex and dynamic. I would say that the fall definitely starts, right? We've still got the summer. I remember being able to enjoy summer weather through October sometimes growing up. And then, it's quickly switches over and you're starting to make way for the holiday season. So I think just saying that in that short amount of time and fairly short statured person. And I would say that, you can pack in a lot of variety in that short space. So I would say I'm like the fall in that way.
I would have to concur. I would say autumn is also my favorite season and the season that I would be because it is so dynamic and vibrant and colorful. And then it's also shifting into a winter season, which is actually, I was born in December, technically still the fall, but it's a time to slow down and recharge. Yeah, and I really appreciate that time for processing.
Exactly.
My fourth question is, what is the best thing about being on the board and a member of Dill Pickle Food Co-op?
The community. hands down. I mean, I think that the people that I've met have been just really wonderful, have made me really happy and excited to be back in Chicago, and in Logan Square in particular. And I think just the folks that I've met, whether, like I said, whether it's been the staff, whether it's been fellow board members or people that are regular shoppers at the Dill Pickle that were, turning slowly into members, or people that were already in existence. And yeah, I've been just really impressed by all the people that I've met in the neighborhood and through the work. And I would, give a shout out to some of the former board members that have been really gracious and with their time, and current board members that I work alongside that have a little bit more experience than I do, to kind of bring me up to speed and just make me feel more than welcome to be a part of the community.
I would also agree. The community is what brings me here and keeps me here. Okay, so what is special about being a Logan Square resident and a member of the Dill Pickle Food Co-op?
Is that two questions or one, Jessica?
It's a twofer.
Yeah. I would say, so what's special about being in the Logan Square community? I really like being in Logan Square. I think there's a wonderful history, and I love how dynamic the community is. I think that it's embraced a variety of cultures. My dad actually was born in the Logan Square area. He is Polish as you can get, which is, an important part of my heritage. And there's still elements of that. I'm Milwaukee with different restaurants and different businesses, which is great. But I also love, we have like an awesome Mexican community, for example, too. And I think the Puerto Rican community as well. And there's plenty of other cultures that I'm, not mentioning that are part of our diverse area. And I think that, we have like different Mexican groceries even too, that I think that some of our shoppers are from Dill Pickle are also like buying products from. And I think that there's enough variety and enough business, right, to go around. And we really just build on one another's successes in that way. And then as far as the Dill Pickle community, yeah, I think it really just is building on that embrace of cultures in Logan Square. I think that it brings a lot of people together around food and food systems, and we all need to eat. And so it's really like a great base to kind of have those community conversations. And it's really wonderful to just be a part of a group that embraces cooperative values.
I agree. And so my last question would be, what advice would you offer to anyone who is interested in running for the board election with the Dill Pickle or any co-op in general?
I would say do it. We need smart, enthusiastic people at the Dill Pickle and at co-ops like nationwide. I think that there's a lot of frustration, and I think that that's been my experience too with some of the BS that's happening on the national level, with basically what I like to call this like version of capitalism that we have on steroids, where like everything and everyone is exploited, and it's infuriating. It's makes me so angry when you think about it. But I find that my board work and being able to connect to the DP like co-op community is just a way to channel that energy and move it to something positive. I think it's really important that, we can't just be angry and channel it in towards our neighbors in a negative way, or sometimes, we can do it with our families or, coworkers or whatever. And I think that it's much better to just take that and put it towards our community, put it towards positive solutions, positive thinking, and really just being solutions oriented. Because I think as frustrating as it is to see some of the conversations that are happening at the national level or even on the local level that, aren't in line with our cooperative values, there's always a way out. There's always a way forward. We're not stuck where there's things that we can do. There's steps that we can take. We just have to work together.
Yeah, something I learned working here from a former coworker, always ask, what's the solution? Did I cut out? Yeah, okay.
Little bit,
Yeah.
But yeah, what's the solution? And I think I've just like tried to make a good habit out of, even if I do point out problems, like pairing it with a solution, right?
There's always a way.
Exactly.
Sorry, I'm still getting used to the lagging with live streaming.
It's part of the technical difficulties of life, but with the Zoom world, it's pretty incredible, all things considered.
Yeah, I know. We're adapting in the moment. That concludes the questions that I have. Do you have any questions or anything else you'd like to add?
I think that those were some great questions. I feel like I know I wasn't too long-winded, so I hope to keep it brief. But yeah, I hope that, people that are considering getting involved, whether it's running for the board or becoming a member, or if it's existing members, come to our board meetings. We have our monthly board meetings. We have plenty of committees to get involved with too. I actually chair the policy committee where we discuss different issues that come up month to month at our board meeting. So would definitely advocate for anyone and everyone who might be interested to, if not come to a meeting, reach out, and I'm happy to share more information. And if anyone wants to talk about membership, board participation, committee participation, I'm here as a resource. Whytnee.bush@dillpickle.coop.
Sweet. And I'll be sure to include that information in the post when I post this on social.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Whitney. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for volunteering your time for the board and for the community. We need more people like you.
Hey, thanks for everything that you do, Jessica. I think we were talking about at the board meeting last night. It takes all sorts of skill sets, all sorts of interests and skills and abilities to make this work. And I'm amazed every time everyone comes together and just seeing all the different ways and abilities that make the Dill Pickle come together and be a success. So to be continued. Onward.
No. Yes, we can't do this alone. It takes a village.
Yes. Yes, it does. Well, thank you again, Jessica. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Enjoy your time in Seattle. I hope it gets sunnier out.
Talk to you soon. Take care.
See you.